All right, 25 is a whole bunch of exponents and simplifying, so we really need to remember our exponent properties. And I'm going to start this, since we have a fraction here, I'm just going to say that it's exponent over root. Is how you can think of a fraction if it's written as an exponent, or an exponent if it's written as a fraction rather. And the way I remember that is ER. It's E over R. So we're going to the ER here. So I'm going to distribute that 3/2 to every single term. When I say term, I even mean numbers, and not just on the top, also on the bottom. So this is going to be distributed 3 times on the top and twice on the bottom. All right, so it's 16 to the 3/2, and then x, and we're going to do multiplication here, so it's 1/6 times 3 over 2. And I know I can simplify a little easier. 3 will go into 3 once, 3 will go into 6 twice, so that's going to be, multiply across, we'd have 1 over 4. So that's x to the 1/4. And then we'll do the same thing with the y. It's y to the negative 2 over 1 times 3 over 2. And there's another shortcut there. 2 is a factor on the top and bottom, so 2 will go into 2 once, 2 will go into 2 once. So it's multiply across, we have negative 1 equals, let's see here, we have negative 1 times 3, which is negative 3, over 1, so it's just negative 3. And then it's all over x to the negative 1/6 times 3 over 2. And look, we can simplify here. 3 and 6, top and bottom have a common factor. 3 will go into 6 twice, 3 will go into 3 once. Now we can multiply across, and we'll get negative 1 times 1 is negative 1, 2 times 2 is 4, so it's x to the negative 1/4. And then our y is going to be y to the 6 over 1 times 3 over 2. And again, we can simplify here. 2 will go into 2 once, 2 will go into 6 3 times. Multiply across, 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1, so it's just 9 over 1, or just 9. All right, I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. So we have 16 to the 3/2 power, x to the 1/4 power, I'm just rewriting what I have neater, and then the y to the negative 3 over x to the negative 1/4 y to the 9th. All right, next thing to think about, and I could have done this in the beginning, I chose not to. You can do it either way you see fit. If you have a negative exponent, they're unhappy, sad face. So that means they need to move to the other side of the fraction to be happy. So I see one more who's unhappy, the x to the negative 1/4. So sad face, so they need to move to the other side of the fraction, and that will make them positive. So I'll rewrite that now. It's 16 to the 3/2, x to the 1/4, and now I brought up the other x to the 1/4, and then it's over, I have a y to the 9th already down there, and then I brought down that y to the 3rd. So now I have no negative exponents. Everybody's happy. Okay? And now at this point, I have some like terms here. In other words, like bases. So x's and x's. I have y's and y's. So I'm going to start with that first. If you're multiplying numbers with the same base, the rule is you add the exponents. So x to the 1/4 times x to the 1/4 is really x to the 1/4. Adding the 1/4 is what we're doing. So we have a like denominator, so it's just 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, or 1/2. So that's going to be x to the 1/2. And then on the bottom, it's just 9 plus 3. So 9 plus 3 is 12, so it's y to the 12th. Now we need to talk about the 16 to the 3/2. Remember, it's exponent over root. So the way I'm going to think about that is the root is 2. So I'm going to take the square root, because it's understood a square root has a 2 there. So it's the square root of 16, and then it's to the 3rd power, because that's my exponent. So the square root of 16 is 4, and then if I cube 4, 4 times 4 is 16, 16 times 4 is 64, so it would be 64 x to the, that didn't come out good, 64 x to the 1/2 over y to the 12th. And looking there, I see answer choice D matches exactly what we have. So a lot of steps here. Just remember, like bases, you want to add the exponents. And there in the beginning, we had an exponent on the outside that we were distributing, so that means we have to multiply that to each of the exponents. So just remember your exponent rules, and you'll be fine.